Imagine life without the reading skills that you need to understand a doctor's prescription, for example, or street signs or basic instructions, never mind a good book. San Diego Council on Literacy is working to give people who don't pick up reading skills in school the tools they need to succeed in life. And joining us are Jose Cruz, who's known as Mr. Literacy, who's head of the San Diego Council on Literacy. Thank you for joining us, Jose. And Clando Brownlee, who discovered in his 20s that he would have to learn to read better to make any progress in life. He is currently a business owner and literacy advocate. Clando, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Jose, let me start with you. How do you define illiteracy?
Literacy is defined as the ability to read, write, and do math to function in life. It's very relative to the individual's needs. Sometimes you'll hear people say either you can read or you can't, and it's not true. 80 years ago, you were considered literate if you could sign your name. That's all the literacy you needed. We're in the age of information, so literacy demands continue to go up. What we call literacy is much more than it was 80 years ago. So the definition really depends upon what does an adult, in this particular case, need in order to do the things that they need to do in their lives.
Right. Now, I understand that about 440,000 people in San Diego are classified as illiterate, and perhaps you can just talk a bit about what that means. But what is the effect on the community?
Well, you have to look at every aspect of the community because literacy is very much a part of our lives in just about every category. And sometimes we hear from people, why are we so focused on the adults? Well, the adults are the child's first teacher. The home is the child's first school. And sometimes what it really takes is not great schools. We want those, we want great teachers, and we want them well supported. But despite all that, without a home where there is stimulation and parents who read to their children and have books in the home and converse with them, without that, your child is not going to enter school with the skills that they need in order to succeed or go on to a career where they're successful. You have that, and then you have, of course, communities that depend upon people being able to read, homes, and businesses, all these things that are the foundation for healthy living, quality of life in our communities. So you see bad things happen when people don't read. And we don't like to blame the victims, but you look at incarceration rates and homelessness and poverty, there's a strong correlation between functional illiteracy or illiteracy and the things that happen in our society that we're having to contend with.
So Clando, describe to us how not being able to read affected your life when you were younger.
Oh gosh, I would say isolation, limited opportunities, and just a very bad self-image.
What was it that made you realize, I gotta learn to read?
It's kind of funny. I was 19 years old. I got put out of high school. I went to an a continuation school that had a basketball team. I played until that was done. And then I went to adult school. I met a very pretty young lady. She gave me her address and phone number and her name on it, and I couldn't read it, and I was mocked. So that was kind of my motivation to say enough's enough.
And what was the most useful thing that helped you to make that leap into reading?
To make the leap into reading, my older sister, she would give me words, and the words that I wasn't very comfortable or didn't get readily, she would make them my spelling words. So the next day I would come with a spelling test, and I would have to, so I was able to formulate sentences and start writing things.
So you asked for help from your family, in fact, right?
Yes.
Well, what are some of the reasons, Jose, that people tell you for why they get to maybe in their 20s without being able to read?
The main thing I think is, even as children, as a kindergartner, your expectation, one of the things that you believe, think, understand that's supposed to happen from going to school is that you're going to be taught to read. And children learn right away that, one, it's not happening for them, and two, it's scary. And so they'll either ask for help or they'll hide it. And so what you'll see very consistently is people who are just trying to get through life under the radar because they're embarrassed or they just don't want anyone to know. And that makes it particularly difficult for us as service providers to help people who need the help.
Okay, and you have this event coming up on Wednesday night, a culinary event for literacy down at the NTC, Eat, Drink, Read, with food inspired by chefs' favorite books. Just in a couple of seconds, what does the Literacy Council actually do to help kids learn to read?
Well, we are the coordinating agency. We unite the community to support literacy services. We represent a network of 26 youth, adult, and family literacy programs who annually serve 170,000 residents at no cost.
Okay.
And so they need our help, and we're there for them.
Thank you so much for joining us. That's Jose Cruz of the San Diego Council on Literacy and Clando Brownlee. Thank you.
Thank you all.